Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the iRacing Stock Car Association ButtKicker Cup and Super Cup Series as we tackle the Goodies 125 here at Road America. Going to be some great racing out here. A lot of very close times in practice. Very excited to see what these guys can do here at the, at this very fast racetrack. Definitely some long straightaways, but there's also some very narrow parts of this racetrack. They're definitely going to be hard to handle for a lot of these drivers, but hopefully everybody brought their A game. As always, I am joined in the booth by Mr. Big Al. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good, Brian. Excited to be back at Road America, especially with this Gen 7 car. I think we're going to be in for a very exciting race, man. Nothing like road courses. I love turning left and right, and I think we got a full packed field tonight here. So it should not disappoint, Brian.
Oh, it definitely won't disappoint. You mentioned a full pack. I mean, I do believe 26 drivers. I kind of coming into tonight, before we got actually into the session, I didn't think we were going to have a lot of guys. A lot of guys find the road courses intimidating, but I do believe a lot of guys are rising to the challenge here tonight. You got to love to see it. Can't wait to see how this all goes, of course. As we mentioned, 125 miles here, so excited. Let's go ahead and check out some of the race facts for tonight. And looking at that, as I mentioned, this is the Goodies 125 at Road America. 31 laps we are going to see here tonight. Of course, caution laps don't count. Stages are going to be 8 and 16. They're going to have 5 tire sets, 4 actually in the pits. Fuel window is 14 laps, so I would not be surprised to see it be very close on that last run when it comes to gas. So some guys might be able to actually try to save that. I don't know. It's going to be really, really close. If guys do end up having to take green flag pit stops, would not be surprised to see guys not take tires. Just considering, I remember when we had that race at Sonoma, Big Al, tires didn't seem to make a difference.
Yeah, Brian, that's true. But, they have made several updates to this next gen car here since Sonoma. So with the tire balance being what it is now with the new tire update, as well as the damage model, I think it's just going to make it a little bit more complex than I think it was at Sonoma. Drivers actually have a lot better feel of the car now, feel for the car. So they're actually going to be able to probably throw it in those turns a little bit more aggressive than we actually have been able to do thus far.
Looking a little bit of the track facts here for tonight's race. Of course, as we mentioned, Road America, almost 4 miles long, 3.98 to be exact. Elkhart Lake, USA here. So didn't know that's actually where this was, and I'm not even sure what state is that in. I'm not exactly sure, but I do know the air temp out there right now is 79 degrees, which is not too bad of weather. But I'll tell you what, the track is very hot. 114 degrees on the surface out here. That's going to make it pretty slippery and sticky out there for these drivers. Also, wind speed quite high, over 10 mile an hour, going towards the southeast here. Mostly cloudy, so we could see, because this is such a big track, could see some parts of the racetrack actually covered in cloud cover, while others are not going to be. Take a quick look at the points here for the Cup Series, and then we'll take a look at the Super Cup Series. Looking at the standings for the Cup Series, of course, we only had just a couple races here to start this season off, 2 to be exact, if I'm not mistaken. Clayton Hoffman right now at the top of the board with 1 win and 2 top 5s. Jeffrey Souza, second place. He's got 1 top 5. Third place is Matt DeCiani. Fourth place, Mark Paget. Fifth place, Carl Dodson. Jason Baker in 6th place with 1 win. Of course, he gave us that surprise win, I think it was at Chicagoland not too long ago, and excellent work from him. Of course, he's pretty quick here tonight also. 6th place, Kenny Powell's in 7th right now. 8th place, Josh Schaffner. 9th place, Chris Johnson. And 10th place, Greg Wojcinski. And go ahead and 11th place right now, Thomas O'Hara. We got Brian Johnson in 12th. He's got a top 5 under his belt. Al Kozlowski right now in 13th. Jeff Barnes in 14th. 15th, Austin Story. And 16th, Eric Kling. I think, you see a lot of these guys don't have top 5s, but they're still finding themselves, kind of higher on the point standings list. I think really, Big Al, that shows how important these stages can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Drivers only have so many opportunities to gain points. And you think about it, only those top 10 points paying positions actually transfer in between stages. So if you're not in the top 10 for at least one of those two stages, I mean, you're really aren't going to gain any points except for the end of race points. So, yeah, as it plays out, man, every single point matters.
And speaking of every single point mattering, now we move on to the Super Cup Series, which actually encompasses it's essentially the whole NASCAR season here. Clayton Hoffman, 5 wins right now, most of anybody right now in first place in the points, has a quite a large points. Actually, I do believe he actually does not have more points than our second place position in points. I think he just is at the top of the list because he has the most wins. But Mark Pageant actually, I guess, would technically be our points leader. He has 2 wins. Third place, Josh Schaffner also has 2 wins. Jeffrey Souza in fourth place has 2 wins. Brandon Pasalacqua, have not seen him in recent memory, has, I do believe, 2 wins. So he's going to be slowly but surely continually to fall down this running order here in the standings. Matt DeCiani right now 6th place in the standings, 1 win. Also, Al Kozlowski has 1 win, 7th place. Chris Johnson has 1 win. He's in 8th. Jason Baker, of course, we just talked about him having that 1 win at Chicagoland. He's in 9th place. Joseph Lester and that Lightning McQueen machine, he is right now in 10th with 1 win. A little bit further down the running order here, Noah Bitts rounding out our winners here for the Super Cup season here. He is in 11th place. 12th place, Greg Wachinski. 13th, Wayne Grossi. 14th, Kenny Powell. And 15th, Mark Sanchez. 16th, Paul Olson rounding out our 16 playoff positions here. Still a little bit of wiggle room. We've seen Robert Pattengale have some really good races. He is just on the outside looking in there in 17th.
Yeah, Pattengill definitely is. If he's going to be wanting to transfer in, he is going to have to find a way to finish in that top 10 there between those stages to kind of grab some of those points to actually make him more in contention because, right, only the top 16 transferred.
That's definitely true for sure. And but he's been doing a great job. I mean, he's been very consistent, been having some very consistent races. And I mean, I would not be surprised to see him, be a slow and steady kind of driver out here tonight, and maybe not be the fastest by any means, but he still, will survive while other guys will make those mistakes. I mean, road courses is, you're not going to have that caution come save you except for, the stage break cautions. But there's not going to be, if someone wrecks, there's a big accident, no caution is going to come out, and if you're able to survive that, you could find yourself with some really good points.
Yeah, and I think the biggest challenge for these drivers getting started is going to be surviving turn 1 because that is going to be everything that if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen in turn 1 of this track.
That it will. This is going to be some very exciting racing. We got some guys that are really close in pace too. I mean, you see Clayton Hoffman, I do believe J.C. Nobrega, very close in pace. Renato Tamburini, he's also a new face in this series. Did really well last week. I do believe brought home a 4th place position, if I'm not mistaken. He's right now qualified in 3rd. Only 24 seconds remain in qualifying. So while we are waiting for everybody to get gridded up, let's take a quick step away and play our national anthem.
Oh, say, can't you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe we have the grid set. Clayton Hoffman going to be lining up in first place. J.C. Nobrega in second place. Renato Tamburini in third place. Matt DiCiani in fourth. Danilo Coelho in, I do believe, right there, going to be on row 3 there. Austin Story going to be starting there in sixth place. Lucas Abreu going to be starting in seventh place. And Joseph Lester in eighth. Ninth place is going to be Brian Johnson, and rounding out our top 10, Josh Schaffner.
And that's going to put Joey Preby in 11th with Randy Drumhiller in 12th. Thomas O'Hara 13th with Greg Wachinski starting in 14th. Andrew Grisbaum is going to be in 15th with Kenny Powell starting alongside him in 16th. Andrew Layton has 17th with Al Kaslowski alongside him in 18th. Jeffrey Souza 19th starting with Chris D. Johnson alongside him in 20th.
Carl Dotson going to be lining up in 21st place. Wayne Grossi in 22nd. Robert Pattengale going to be 23rd, and Jason Baker 24th. 25th belongs to Paul Olson. Mark Sanchez in 26th. And I do believe that wraps out our 26-car field here for tonight. Definitely excited to see what Road America is going to be. You know, how it's going to treat these guys out here. Got to love to see that Porsche back out on the racetrack. And you know, just an interesting track. I mean, much different than what we saw at Sonoma. You know, Sonoma presents, I think, a lot of elevation changes. This track, not so much. More, you know, a lot of really fast corners. But then again, there's some places where it's going to be very difficult to pass. And at some point, lap traffic might come into play. What do you think, Big Al?
Well, it's, you know, this track does lend itself with plenty of places to pass. And hopefully these drivers will kind of exercise good etiquette, if you will, because it's a lot different being passed in road racing, I say, than it is when you're in oval racing. In road racing, you know, generally a lot of times there are multi-class cars on the track at the same time. So these guys should actually be gentlemen, and I think it's going to make it for an exciting event.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to hope that some of these guys can be gentlemen to one another for sure. But, I mean, it is kind of big. Kind of like there's, you know, mixed class cars out there. There's a lot of difference in speeds, you know, whenever you go from first to all the way back to the back. I mean, we saw some guys hitting, you know, 2-minute 18-second laps and you know, all the way to the, you know, the fastest times 2-minute 10. Even I think Clayton Hoffman even hit a 2:09 in practice, which is really, really quick. And there, of course, the pace car is pulling off of their grid here, so pace car lights are going to be out. We're going to be going green. Of course, one thing about road courses, though, these caution laps are quite lengthy.
Yeah, we're going to take a long way around this track as it's 3.98 miles and there's 14 turns. Actually, there's more than 14. There's a couple of alphas, but here we go. Looks like the pace car is off. I think we're ready to kick this thing into gear, man.
Wow, that's interesting. I thought we would have to actually do a whole, you know, circuit around this place, but apparently not. As you, like you mentioned, the green flag is out. Big fighting going on here is already J.C. Nobrega trying to challenge Clayton Hoffman into turn 1, but he takes the high side. He's not going to have the advantage. But look at the run. He's going to try to stick that nose in underneath that Reaper Speed Labs machine. And a lot of battling going on throughout this field. I do believe we see the 22 of Danilo Coelho trying to fight there in 6th place. I do believe Joseph Lester trying to challenge him. Lester was really good, I do believe, at Sonoma, so I'm curious to see what he can do here at Road America. Will it translate?
Well, if he doesn't get on those brakes in time, it might just not. But, you know, the key about road courses, you have to be fast, but you got to be fast consistently. You know, one bad lap, man, could actually end your race where, you know, you're concentrating on a lot of different turns. Plus, you got traffic that's going to be a factor as we're riding along. Looks like Lucas Abreu is doing pretty good here as he's got his car up in 9th place. He's going to be right up on the edge of Austin's Story there, as we're almost trying to get this first lap in the books, as the leader is taking us around that carousel right now.
And clean lap so far from everybody out there. We were kind of worried about how turn 1 was going to look, but these guys took care of business. You know, going in there very smooth, very clean. Definitely see some guys still battling. Joseph Lester, of course, now up to the 5th spot, trying to catch up here to Renato.
Just like that. Looks like Brian Johnson is going to bite it there on that stretch. That's going to let Josh Shockner slide by him. So got to be very careful re-entering that race surface, Brian.
That he does. It looks like he is going to take a lot of care to do just that here. Oh, man, Andrew Layton almost comes in and cleans him out. That was not going to be a pretty thing, but luckily he was able to avoid that contact. That was scary right there. Oh, and Clayton Hoffman loses it. The leader has lost it. JC Nobrega, your new leader. Clayton Hoffman stopped in the grass.
He is definitely contemplating his future right now because, you know, there's plenty of racing left. This is only the first stage. You know, he'll get back on that horse. He's got to, and bring her on back around, Clayton. You're going to be just fine.
Curious just what happened here for him to make a mistake like this. Caught some of that grass and sent him right around. You know, this is not like Clayton Hoffman to make mistakes.
Yeah, coming around turn 14, man, you just got to hold your mouth just right. And sometimes the brakes fade on these giants, man. It makes it a little bit more complicated to stop.
That it does here. Look at Joseph Lester trying to look in on Matt DeCiani. A lot of battling going on here in the top 5.
Yeah, and they got Danilo Cojo right there behind him. Looks like Joseph Lester is not trying to be too patient there, as he has been doing everything he can to try to get around Matt DeCiani, but it's just not happening right now.
And after that spin from Clayton Hoffman, he actually went all the way back to last place. Unfortunate to see that. He's just going to have to get back on that horse because, I mean, won't be too long. We'll have our first stage being concluded here as stage 1, of course, ends on lap 8.
Yeah, looks like we're coming around right now just on lap 2, trying to get it in the books. And everybody seems to be holding their position pretty good here. This racing continues all around. It's a beautiful track here at Road America.
See Brian Johnson, he has just been having all sorts of issues out here so far tonight. It's only lap 2, as you just mentioned. Kenny Powell was able to get around him. This is a race where I think slow and steady is going to be your best, you know, your best tool here. And you know, you definitely just don't want to make mistakes.
You got to be patient, man. You can't overdrive the track. You know, that's the first thing. And you know, you got to make your entrance, got to hit that apex, got to get those exits. You got to just be laser focused every lap if you want to be successful here.
%. Most of the drivers out there right now single file, so that's a good thing for sure to see a lot of these guys kind of trying to take it easy. But then again, I mean, I don't know. I think in this early stage, you got a little bit more or a little less to lose. You can kind of burn that thing up a little bit to see exactly what the limits of that machine is actually going to be. That way you can make those necessary adjustments, you know, for these final stages or for the, you know, stages to come.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if everybody takes tires at the end of that first stage, or if some guys are just going to take fuel only to try to risk it for track position, because, you know, that is going to come down to be the most valuable thing here. As these drivers continue to put laps around, they will find their pace as well as their speed, Brian. But right now, I think it's just a matter of you're going to have to make some gutsy calls here in order to try to advance your position, I do believe.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't be surprised to see some guys maybe short pitting the stage, try to get that track position. Definitely could be a way even Clayton Hoffman could get himself back in this game if he decided to, you know, maybe stay out or something like that. I mean, of course, we mentioned the fuel runs 14 laps, so stage 2 ends on lap 16. Of course, caution laps don't count, so that means that you're not going to be saving any gas under caution.
Yeah, Joseph Lester has shown a lot of patience as he is just dialed in right behind Matt DeCiani. He's just sitting there and he's just waiting on Matt DeCiani to make any mistake to give him an opportunity to take that 95 Lightning McQueen car on up there into third place.
Yeah, I'm curious, how much clean versus dirty air affects these drivers, especially with this being such a fast, road course here. We're now seeing, I do believe, the 19 of Austin Story going to try to challenge Joseph Lester.
Yeah, these two right now, are they coming down that front straightaway? They are definitely going to have to sort this out going into turn one. This Story's probably going to try to stay on the inside, maybe break a little bit later to try to get an advantage there. Lester holding his own on the outside.
Yeah, Lester able to hold a lot more momentum. Surprising to see that as he's able to defend successfully here. This is going to allow Danilo in that 22 to catch up here as Lester all out of sorts. So this is a really big battle going to be happening here. That's going to, for the top four, fifth, sixth, and seventh here, as these guys are all right on top of each other. Austin Story sending it on the inside. You can just see how he almost locked those brakes up, but luckily he was able to make that pass stick, and now up to fourth place.
Now you got Danilo Coho. He's going to be coming right in there now because he's going to be wanting to get a little bit of action too, as he's going to be trying to dial in on Joseph Lester. Now Lester has to be calm. He can't get rattled as he is one of the younger drivers in this series. This is where he's going to have to show some poise in the experience of a lot. Oh, as the 19 gets loose, and that's going to cause Lester to go by. The 22 now has a line on the inside. Lester's still trying to get back on the track. He's going to lose several positions as well as a result of that miscommunication in that turn there.
Yeah, I think that these guys are just trying to drive it as hard as they possibly can. That's leading to some mistakes happening here. Luckily, Austin Story probably going to be able to get back on the track without any damage here. He's now falling back to 15th place. Clayton Hoffman also trying to make somewhat of a recovery here. He has worked his way back up into 18th, now 17th. He's making passes left and right now. So he's definitely not giving up in that 92.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not. And Lucas Abreu has now got his sights set on Daniel Coho as he is trying to move up into that top 5 for the first time this evening.
But J.C. Nobrega out to an incredible lead right now. 3.7 seconds he has on Renato Tamburini. Matt DeCiani, he's about 2.3 back from Renato in third place. Danilo, he's actually 6 seconds back from Matt DeCiani. 11 seconds, almost 12 seconds back from the actual leader here. So some big battling going on here. But still, the more these guys are battling, the more that leader is getting away right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's still early, Brian. Everybody just has to be patient, man. You are literally racing yourself when it comes to road courses. Although that car in front of you is a marker, if you beat yourself, if you're not the one that's on, that car in front of you might not be the car in front of you for long. You might find yourself looking at a whole new set of sponsors there, and you're out of your front vision.
See Austin Story is trying to recover himself here as he tries to catch up here to Thomas O'Hara in 13th. But yeah, you're 100% right. This is a track you got to hit your marks. You can't fall victim to that carrot on a stick mentality. You see that guy in front of you, you want so badly to pass him. Oh, it's Thomas O'Hara. Goes really wide, locks the tires up a bit here. That's going to give Austin Story 13th back.
Yeah,
Wayne Grassi also going to make his way by.
Yeah, that's a tricky turn right there as well. There are a couple spots on this racetrack there. If you don't hit them just right, you could just slide by. And I think that's what we just saw happen in that case.
Randy Drumhiller's been having a pretty good race. Oh, there goes Jason Baker through the grass. He's going to lose some spot. He looks like he's able to get back onto the racetrack safely here. I think that's probably one of the main challenges here. You can make a mistake, but getting back onto the track safely is probably going to be the biggest thing because, it just seems like a very narrow, racetrack here. So when you come back up, I can see a lot of guys, especially a lot of blind corners too, where you come out of the corner, there's someone stopped in the middle of the racetrack. That could be a hairy situation.
Yeah, you're relying solely on your spotters a lot of these corners around this racetrack because, like you just said, you cannot see everything. But I think looks like pit road is going to be closed here as we are almost about ready to get stage 1 in the books. Grossi's going to go way, way wide, and that's going to cause a little bit of confusion there between Jason Baker and Brian Johnson.
Yeah, a little bit of a door bang going on there as Brian Johnson trying to work his way by Wayne Grossi. You know, Grossi definitely a very good oval racer, but it doesn't seem like he's warming up to Road America as much as he could be here. But definitely still trying to be in the fight here. As he even tries to take Brian Johnson. He tries to take that position again. Oh wow, these guys are getting very sporty, as you would say.
Yeah, sporty to say the least.
And Clayton Hoffman coming right into the picture here too. So this is kind of a hairy situation. Hoffman trying to get all these positions back and work his way back to the field. And he's going to be able to clear Thomas O'Hara here, but I don't know if Wayne Grossi and Brian Johnson are going to be as easy to get around.
Well, he looks like he has a run on Grossi right now, as he's still going to be trying to line it up. Looks like Hoffman is on the outside. He's going to try to go wide around, maybe do a crossover there on Grossi coming up the hill.
Almost gets really loose. He got really loose, but he was able to still hold the momentum and got right by Grossi. What a move there from the 92. You also see Joseph Lester trying to work his way back up there to Lucas Abreu. Definitely got a nice fight going on here, 4th, 5th, and 6th. There goes Clayton Hoffman on the outside of Brian Johnson. Is going to be able to make that pass stick, and he has worked his way back up into 14th.
And Lester and Lucas Abreu get really close there, as it appears that Danilo Coelho lost it a little bit going into that turn, and that's going to cause him to slip all the way back from 4th place, all the way back down into 6th.
Joseph Lester getting really loose there as he tries to catch up there to that 9-car Lucas Abreu. So huge fighting going on right now, as I do believe the white flag should be out for the stage here anytime. Well, I think we actually have one more lap there until that is actually the case.
Yeah, Lester has definitely been balling those tires off that car, to say the least. He has been wheeling that thing around here, trying to do everything he can to close the gap and get whatever precious seconds that he can. And this cost him a little bit, but man, way to go. I think we definitely got to commend him for actually standing in there as long as he has, because, man, these guys are really racing here tonight.
Oh, they definitely are racing very hard. One thing I'm kind of noticing here, Renato Tamburini, he's been running about 8/10 faster than JC Nobrega up here in the front. He's actually started to catch him. Last time we looked, it was about almost 4. Oh, to 9. Lucas Abreu locks up the tires. That's going to give Joseph Lester what he needs to get around and take over 4th place. But JC Nobrega is starting to slow down a little bit. Maybe he burned his equipment up. Here's Renato looking like he's got long-run pace.
Well, these guys are teammates, too, if I'm not mistaken, so they probably have been practicing together, and definitely, there's really not a whole lot of reason for them to try to do anything at this point that's going to damage that race car. So Lester's going to be loose again coming out of the kettle bottom, so that's going to, as he goes into the carousel, he is going to find himself being challenged again. As Lucas Abreu is definitely, those two have been at each other's throat for the duration of this competition.
Wow, and look at Joseph Lester. He definitely is drifting that thing around, catching some grass. I mean, he is fighting hard. One thing about road course racing, though, I think that we see time and time again, is, you want to make it look boring. You don't want to be, letting it all hang out like that. Because, I mean, that usually will burn your equipment up. And a lot of times when in road course, I mean, slow is fast. If it looks slow, that probably means it's fast.
Yeah, smooth is fast in road course racing. That is true. You have to be smooth and consistent in order to actually make it. And looks like that white flag is out now. That is going to put this stage here in the books. But the 9-car Lucas Abreu, he is loose at that point. Now he's going to be playing in the grass.
There's been a lot of guys playing in the grass here. You also see Austin Story back here. He has worked his way back up into the top 10. Now is onto the back of Greg Wachinski, as they are going to be fighting here for this 9th place position.
And I'm going to tell you what, Al Kozlowski as well as Paul Olsen, man, these guys are going to be hanging on by the skin of their teeth as the leaders are slowly going to start to come into their frame. And I'm going to tell you that stage caution probably is not going to come soon enough for those guys.
Yeah, you also see some guys have actually, I do believe, are out of the race car, if I'm not mistaken. I think Kenny Powell a lap down right now. I'm sorry, that is, my telemetry is definitely saying the wrong thing here. So, yeah, a lot of these guys barely going to be hanging on. They're going to need this caution. Do apologize. A little bit of technical difficulty there when it comes to showing people laps down. Of course, everyone right now is on the lead lap, if I'm not mistaken here, as I do believe JC Nobrega getting ready to cross the start-finish line for the final time for this stage. Still have a little bit to go. This is a large track. You know, that's one thing.
And the 95 and the 22 get into each other, and that is going to cause the Coho to definitely lose control as well as positions. Not what he wanted to see, but you know what? I think that's going to allow Clayton Hoffman to slide back on up into that top 10. So what a story he's going to be able to tell. But unfortunately, it looks like, was that Brian Johnson? Who was that got into contact with him?
Well, I mean, I think that was actually Joseph Lester and the 22 got into one another there. And that's going to cause a lot of damage to that 22. We know the new damage model, the way it works. I mean, that was a sizable hit. Would not be surprised to see that that car having some problems.
As JC Nobrega is going to officially be your Stage 1 winner, the field continues to advance around.
Al Kozlowski going to be going to lap down here. Fortunately, he will get the lucky dog, but because of this is such a big track, it's going to be hard to catch back up to that field and actually be able to get that pit stop in. And there is the caution. Stage 1 is in the book. JC Nobrega, of course, your Stage 1 victor. Renato Tamburini going to finish 2nd place. Matt DeCiani in 3rd. 4th place going to be Joseph Lester. 15th, Joey Preby. 6th place, Danilo Coelho. 7th place, Josh Schaffner. 8th place, Austin Story. 9th place, Greg Wachinski. And 10th place, Clayton Hoffman. And what a great race there. A lot of guys, I do believe, you know, some just went a lap down. I mean, I don't know if I would want to go a lap down. It's such a big racetrack like this. Like I mentioned before, it's going to be very difficult to catch back up to that field. You know, you almost got to turn qualifying laps to catch up to the field, Big Al.
Yeah, but, you know, I think at that point, though, those guys cannot get too wrapped up around the axle about it. You got to just drive your own race, man. And that's the one thing about road racing. You just can't get, you know, in somebody else's car because that's going to let them in your head, man. So I think plenty of racing left. No need for these guys to get excited. But you know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about hearing a word from our sponsors. So with that, let's take a break.
Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. Because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely big shout out to our sponsors there, ButtKicker on this series, and also shout out to Goody Headache Powder there. I'll tell you what, my dad, whenever I was younger, and he was still alive. He swore by Goodies. I mean, that was like the best thing to get rid of a headache. That's for sure, Big Al.
I don't know, man. You think maybe you might have been the cause of that?
Could very well have been. Oh, man. Now that I think about it, I think you might be right.
I was asking for a friend, man. I wasn't trying to make any implications on your juvenile behavior.
Oh, I was bad. I was bad, child. I used to put peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the VCR, and I know a lot of people out there listening right now probably don't even know what a VCR is, so don't even ask. But, yeah, I definitely was a headache, a walking headache. So Goodies, I think I'm a walking advertisement for that, just considering how much my dad used to take those things. Definitely some good pain relief, though, from those fine folks there at Goodies. Well, I mean, I don't believe everyone's had a chance to actually go down pit road quite yet. This is such a large track. You know, it's kind of interesting to see just how big this racetrack is. You know, that these guys have not yet pitted. I mean, I think if we were at Sonoma, we would have already seen these guys already take that pit stop. I do believe we should see it here soon, and I'm really interested, Big Al. You mentioned it earlier, whether these guys are going to take tires or not. I mean, I think that's going to be really the question of the night. I mean, what I was seeing, I mean, didn't see a whole heck of a lot of fall off, but there was enough, I do believe, to warrant maybe pitting for maybe even just 2 tires. I'm not sure how that would affect you on a road course.
Would be rest assured there are going to be a couple guys that are going to have no choice but to try to, do something a little bit out of the ordinary in order to try to make it better for themselves.
Yeah, track position is so key here. I would not be surprised to see some guys just like, you know what, I'm not going to take tires. I need to get this track position. But then again, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you kind of mentioned it. This is not, Sonoma. We've already had some, updates here, since then. And, we didn't see a lot of tire wear there. I just don't know if we're going to see a lot of tire wear here. I mean, we did see some fall off. We didn't hardly see any fall off at Sonoma. We saw guys deep into their runs turning, their fastest laps. Here we actually have seen a little bit of fall off. As it looks like JC Nobrega is going to lead everybody down pit road. Al Kozlowski going to be receiving the lucky dog here.
Looks like Lucas Abreu has decided to withdraw from tonight's competition. That might
not a surprise.
Might have been as a result of that contact that he shared with Joseph Lester.
Yeah, that's not a surprise. I mean, it was a heavy hit. I mean, would not be surprised to see. I mean, these chassis are very tough. I think that's something we've kind of learned as we've seen this next gen kind of in action. But one thing about it, all the mechanical things underneath that chassis are very vulnerable. And, a hit like that could have easily messed up his suspension or something like that to made it to where it was not going to be fixable. Matt DeCiani, I do believe he elected to not take tires. He wins the race off of pit road. Interesting to see that. Looking at everybody's pit stops here. Paul Olson actually electing to stay out right now. He has not taken his pit stop yet. But everybody looking at pit times here, 7.6 from DeCiani. I would say that's indicative of just taking fuel. JC Nobrega, 11.2 seconds. I would say he took 2 tires. So interesting to see this. What I'm seeing right now from Renato Tamburini, it doesn't seem like he spent any time on pit road. Might be just a little mistake here with our telemetry. But Joseph Lester also, I do believe, took 2 tires. Josh Schaffner took 2 tires. I do believe Greg Wachinski also took 2 tires. Joey Preby is our first man that is going to be on 4 tires there. Everybody behind him, I do believe, has taken 4.
Yeah, and I don't think you're really going to see that significant of a difference by taking those 4 tires. But, who knows? But it is still going to be early. You got one more shot at it. Personally, I would have definitely took the gamble in order to improve track position.
Yeah, Matt DeCiani definitely took a pretty sizable gamble doing exactly that, and he's going to find himself leading the field to green here when we go back green. I do believe we got enough time. Let's dial up Mr. Matt DeCiani. Mr. Matt DeCiani, we got you here in the booth. Hopefully we're not bothering you while you're trying to stick with this pace car here, but you made a really big call there, able to win the race off pit road. Do you think tires are going to make a huge difference? Because it didn't seem like you took any.
No, yeah, tires. I don't think tires are going to mean anything here. The fall off is like non-existent, but you just got to take care of them. I locked them up, so we'll see what happens in this run. But yeah, the lighter the car is, the faster it is.
I mean, it seemed like you definitely had top 3 speed there. You were up in a 3rd place there for the majority. We saw guys, you know, I think Joseph Lester was catching up to you and trying to make passes, and you kind of defended your position and just started pulling away. You got a lot of confidence. I mean, have you put a lot of time in here at Road America?
Yeah, I've run a decent amount of A-Opens this week and had pretty good success. But yeah, driver just can't make mistakes. I made a couple here that first stage, and so I just got to clean it up, and I think I should have a chance at it.
Well, definitely, hopefully you do for sure. This is a challenging track. Can you tell us a little bit maybe what this track is like compared to Sonoma, which we saw just a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it's more about heavy braking here. Sonoma, there's really only, you know, the braking zones aren't as deep here, and you got to carry so much speed into the braking zones, and then you got to brake as late as possible without locking them up, but then get up off the corners. But, you know, Sonoma is more technical and rhythm-based, where here I feel like it's just, you know, heavy braking.
Oh, definitely appreciate your input there, and can't wait to see how this looks for you here. Good luck, and can we get you to do a little bit of a mini shout-out for us? I know we probably might get a chance to talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks to you guys up in the booth, ButtKicker for sponsoring the series, and then EPI for the setups.
All righty, well, thank you for your time, Matt. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Definitely interesting that he says that, you know, about, you know, this track having heavier braking zones. I would never have thought that. I would have thought Sonoma would have been the slower racetrack, but it does seem like, you know, this place can surprise you.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of this track is brake heavy. That's a very true statement. I mean, especially coming around, you know, the Kettle Bottoms, the carousel, the Canada turn. I mean, yeah, this place is you got to have your brakes right, brother.
You definitely do. So I would assume brake buy is probably a very important thing to maybe try to keep an eye on and make changes as this race goes on. And, you know, I've seen a lot of guys, I never know, I've never been able to do it myself, like, you know, change my brake buys as I'm driving around a racetrack. But I've seen many guys are capable of doing that. And I think that might be what separates the great from the just good, you know?
Well, yeah, and also it's going to be your equipment as well, because if you're not on load cell brakes, you're definitely going to be at a slight disadvantage, especially, you know, on tracks like this where you do have to brake so much.
Oh, yeah. But then again, I mean, you're definitely right there. I agree totally that, you know, if you got some load cell pedals, some really nice pedals, it can definitely, you know, give you some sort of advantage. But then again, I mean, I've seen guys running Logitechs and still be able to, you know, outbrake someone on load cells. So I think it's also got to be about execution, but I think that's anything in racing.
Yeah, well, just remember, a poor carpenter always blames his tools.
That's right. Of course, the pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to go green for stage number 2. And we will be concluding this stage on lap 16, going to 17. So going to be about around the same, you know, amount of time these guys are going to have to actually, you know, run out here. I'm really curious to see how these old tires do here. If these guys, you know, might have some wheel spin, I think it could be a possibility.
Well, also, guys are going to be probably a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Rowdy. That's it. They're going to be probably a little bit more rowdy down there on that racetrack right now. So that's probably going to give us an opportunity to see some of these guys swapping a little bit of paint with each other.
Yeah, and if they're going to get rowdier than what we saw in stage 1, I think we're definitely in for one heck of a show, as we saw some heavy contact happen in that that first stage. I think the one that we're going to have to keep an eye on is probably going to end up being Clayton Hoffman. He's actually all the way back there in 19th now. I do believe he actually did take a set of tires.
Well, you know, he had drove all the way up to the top 10, so he still was able to grab a point, and I think he might want to get his damage fixed a little bit, as he definitely did suffer some damage on the, looks like the left rear quarter panel of that car.
Yeah, definitely wanted probably to get some of that took care of. Track position is so important, but hopefully he'll be able to drive his way back through here as the green flag soon to be back out in the air here. Pace car down pit road. Matt DeCiani in control as they come over the hill here. The green flag going to be back out in the air. DeCiani wasting no time to get onto the gas here as Joseph Lester side by side with Renato Tamburini, as Lester's going to try to take it really wide into turn one, and he's going to get clear here. What a move there from Joseph Lester. Oh, JC Nobrega and Joseph Lester, a little bit of contact with one another here. That's going to give it a chance to Renato Tamburini to get back into this race for the top three.
Joey Preby, though, he just got a little bit loose, and I think he got a little bit of a love tap there from Brian Johnson as he was coming around that last turn.
And Joey Preby is one of the first guys on the racetrack to have new tires. So surprised to see him having problems. But then again, you've said it time and time again about cold tires. You know, sometimes can be worse than those old ones.
Yeah, old tires and cold tires have a lot of the same characteristics. Brian Johnson definitely, he is putting down a smoke cloud, and that is definitely probably going to be indicative of his brake bias as well.
As JC Nobrega catches up to the back here of Matt DeCiani. 2-car breakaway. These guys have over a second back to everyone else right now. As Matt DeCiani going to be trying to hold off JC. We know that DeCiani, he's not one that folds or cracks under pressure, so wouldn't be surprised to see that that Fanatec machine stay up there. But I don't believe he's gonna have to earn it. That's for sure. And what a great job here from Greg Wachinski right now, holding 6th place. As Josh Schaffner tries to catch up here to him. And Josh Schaffner definitely doing a great job right now, holding 7th, as he is now being pressured, though, by Joey Preby.
Yeah, Carl Dobson is going to be pulling up to the back end of Andrew Griesbaum, and he's going to be trying to get around him. So Wayne Grassi is probably going to love the fact that those two are going to be battling. That might give him a little bit of a chance for a drive-off.
Definitely could, but Griesbaum definitely been showing some pace here as he's able to try to pull away a little bit from Carl Dodson. Clayton Hoffman started 19th on that stage, now up to 15th. Here's Al Kozlowski, slow. It's going to be a little bit of a tricky situation. Al Kozlowski is 1 lap down. But he does get out of the way, so that's good to see that for sure. As Matt DeCiani still your leader, as he's running a little bit quicker than JC Nobrega. But then again, Nobrega has turned some of the fastest laps on the racetrack.
Yeah, Al Kozlowski definitely having a hard time here tonight. He definitely doesn't seem to have much race pace at all. But he is out there attempting to get as many points as he can, so good on him.
Yeah, he's definitely struggling, that's for sure, but he hasn't given up, and that's the key here. A lot of fighting going on throughout this pack. You just saw Jason Baker kind of tussling there with Mark Sanchez. Now Mark Sanchez is going to have to deal with Danilo Coelho, who I do believe also might have suffered from a little bit of contact earlier here, and then probably was trying to get some of that damage fixed. Now back here in 19th. He was up there in the top 5 earlier. Big battle going on right here between Josh Schaffner and Joey Preby. This is the fight for 7th place. As Preby tries to go on the inside, not able to get there. Schaffner trying to defend. That's Brian Johnson. He's probably going to love to look at this, because the more these guys race each other, the easier it's going to be for him to catch them.
Yeah, the 42 of Carl Dobson way wide on that last turn, man. That's going to cost him a bunch of positions as he is now going to even let Randy Drumhiller go by him. Thomas O'Hara as well in the 117 going to get by him.
Yeah, this is that track. You know, you could be the fastest out there, but if you're not able to put together consecutive laps, that's when you're going to find yourself in trouble. You have to be so consistent here. You know, that's why I think it really pays to be consistent. You don't have to be the fastest guy, so that's why I wouldn't be intimidated to come out here and try to turn some lap. You know, try to just stay clean, because it could pay off. It really can. Here comes JC Nobrega on the inside of Matt DeCiani. Locks up the brakes, trying to get around that one car. Not able to do so. And this is allowing Renato Tamburini to start to catch up here. So 3 cars going to be fighting here for the lead here shortly.
Yeah, Renato Tamburini definitely has been showing a lot of speed and a lot of pace. But JC Nobrega is the fastest car on the racetrack so far right now.
Now, Matt DeCiani, he hasn't been the fastest. Oh, Joseph Lester having some problems here. He gets really loose. That's going to give him Austin Story a chance maybe to work his way up to 4th here. It looks like Lester's going to be able to get that thing underneath him here. But I think that JC Nobrega is pushing Matt DeCiani to turn some of his fastest laps. I mean, that last lap, Matt DeCiani turned his fastest, one so far, 2 minutes, 10 seconds, .848, which is really, really fast. That's actually really close to some of the fastest lap times on the racetrack. But huge battle going on right now for 4th place. Joseph Lester is struggling right now. And I do believe he was one of the ones that took 2 tires, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely going to be, seems like that is not providing him a lot of grip, that's for sure. As he goes really wide, Austin Story going to try to get underneath him. Could we see a bumper here?
Yeah, Lester just has to stay calm, though. I think what you see him is he does tend to get frustrated sometimes when maybe he misses a corner or whatever. But if he just can, he's running great. So if he could just stay out of his own head, man, I think he's going to be just fine.
I think that's right. You know, you don't want to. One thing that you don't want to do is look in your rearview mirror when you're at a road course.
And Randy Drumhiller, just like that, he is going to come on by the 7-8 of Andrew Grisbaum, and that's going to move him all the way up to that 11th place position.
Clayton Hoffman short pitting the stage. He is down pit road. Oh, problems with Matt DeCiani here. He is going to lose it into the grass here. I do believe a little bit of contact as he backs up in front of a lot of these drivers. Want to take a quick rewind and see what just happened. I do believe he got helped around by JC Nobrega here. Nobrega dives on the inside. DeCiani, oh yeah, some contact on the front end of JC Nobrega there. Lucky that Austin Story and Joseph Lester didn't come out of that corner and hit him.
Man, at 19 of Austin Story, he just lost it a big, and that's going to cause him to slip back in an entire bunch of positions as well. And then at one point, I think.
Look at his tire there. His left side tire, or his right side tire. My mistake. Look at the front tire there, Big Al. It is not connected anymore. His day is probably done after a contact like that.
Just put some duct tape on it. Be all right.
If you say so. Look at the smoke coming out of that machine. There is something considerably wrong with that car.
Yeah, one thing you don't want to do around this track is take a tow, because that is a long ride.
But look at his even his left front is not even gripping on the. I don't see it spinning.
I don't think he realizes just how jacked up his car is.
I'm shocked he's able to still drive this thing around this place. That smoke is just pouring out of that machine. Unfortunate too, because he had one of the fastest cars I do believe we've seen all night long. Unfortunate for that 19. Renato Tamburini has worked his way now up to the lead here. JC Nobrega probably having a little bit of a front-end damage on his machine after he got that contact with Matt DeCiani. DeCiani, of course, is back on the racing surface here, fighting right now with Joseph Lester. Joey Preby trying to find his way around Greg Wachinski, not able to do so. That's going to put him in the line of sight here for Josh Schaffner. Schaffner tries to go underneath. This has definitely been a very chaotic stage 2 here, as we're going to have 2 laps to go when we cross the line. That is not something you want to see, though, when you get that damage and that tire's not connected to the axle. Man, you got to love the new damage model, but I guarantee you, Austin Story is probably not liking that damage model at all right now.
Yeah, but this isn't about Austin. This is about the viewers. We're trying to give them a realistic racing experience, and they totally are getting to see just that, right?
Oh, Jason Baker getting all out of sorts there, able to keep it together, lock those tires up. They're definitely getting a realistic race here right now. These guys definitely having to mind their P's and Q's.
We're really going to give a shout out to Greg Wachinski, as he is up to 6th place now, and he has got Joey Preby in his sight, so he's got to be feeling pretty good about that. Definitely going to give himself an opportunity here if he can maintain his pace to actually get a pretty good finish there for that number 5 DuPont paint scheme.
Yeah, Greg Wachinski, he needs a good finish. I mean, he's been having a lot of troubles, I'd say. You know, just, Joseph Lester's off the racetrack sitting in the sand. Now back into the grass here. There's a lot going wrong. Oh, yeah, his look at that. His tire's not connected either. Joseph Lester going to probably be making an exit. Luckily, he had the problems closer to pit road, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, though. When your car looks like that, it just does not mean a happy driver, happy car, or happy crew.
I mean, you see the front end. I mean, the front end of that car looks perfectly fine. I mean, the only thing that's damaged has got to be the suspension, and, you know, just crazy to how tough these chassis are, but how, you know, vulnerable everything underneath is. And I think that is realistic because, I mean, I've seen, you know, when you're watching the actual NASCAR races on Sundays, I mean, those guys will have some big hits and the chassis looks fine. But, you know, everything underneath. So, I mean, I think this is definitely, these updates have really just made it so realistic. Greg Wachinski, because of that, has worked his way up to 5th here. He is losing sight, though, of Joey Preby. Preby has been running some very good laps. He's now in 4th place. Josh Schaffner going to be under fire here from Brian Johnson here. Oh, Greg Wachinski off the racing surface. That's going to give Josh Schaffner the 5th position.
Yeah, and Wachinski's definitely going to have to get that thing back running there. But looks like he's going to go ahead and slip on the way to Brian Johnson as well. Just cost him a couple biscuits, Brian.
Another driver's been doing very well here. Has been really consistent. Hasn't been the fastest out there by far. Randy Drumhiller. I mean, Drumhiller has really been shining here lately, and I think a lot of drivers have just been really showing up. I mean, drivers you would think that, oh, they just don't do well. They're usually in the back of the field. That has not been the case here as of late. That is for sure. We have seen some guys really start to step it up, and I think a lot of that comes to because of the competition level that we have in the ISCA. You know, they pushed them to be better here. So Randy Drumhiller right there behind Wayne Grossi trying to fight for that 9th place position. The 42 of Carl Dodson has caught up here to Drumhiller, though.
Looks like pit road is closed, and that white flag is waving.
Speaking of which, Josh Schaffner down pit road, Brian Johnson down pit road, Greg Wachinski, they all pitting right before the stage end. It looks like Renato Tamburini, looks like he might be your stage 2 winner here, but JC Nobrega is definitely right on his rear end sniffing, trying to get that stage 2 victory.
Yeah,
That's quite a sacrifice, though. Those guys choosing to go down pit road like that. You know, sacrificing a lot of stage points. That is going to be hefty.
Not really, because they're sacrificing stage points for track position. And the 44 Drumheller gets loose. That's going to let the 7 of Grassi go by. And those two actually going to be swapping positions. As here he comes around to 42 as well.
Yeah, I think Carl Dodson actually had managed to work his way around Randy Drumheller, but then got really, really loose. And now Drumheller going to be back on the inside of him. Wayne Grassi trying everything he can to hold off Jason Baker to try to hold on to this top 10 for those valuable stage points.
Kenny Powell looks like he is going to be in danger and going a lap down here.
And here we go. Renato Tamburini going to cross the start-finish line and be your Stage 2 winner. Still a lot of volatility in this top 10 where we could see some changes in position. Still every bit of chance to make a mistake here. You saw Jason Baker getting really loose. He is having very loose condition, but he's been good at saving that car, even though he's been loose.
Yeah, Christy Johnson also finding himself being off pace a little bit. We are halfway through this thing.
And here we go. Top 10 going to be crossing the start-finish line. Andrew Grisbaum going to be your last man in the top 10 here. And that will conclude Stage 2. Renato Tamburini, your Stage 2 winner. JC Nobrega in second place. Matt DeCiani in third. Joey Preby in fourth place. Danilo Coelho has worked his way back up through the field, now up to fifth. Carl Dodson is going to finish sixth. Randy Drumheller in seventh. Eighth place going to belong to Wayne Grassi. Ninth place, Jason Baker. And 10th place, Andrew Grisbaum. So definitely a great job to those top 10. Going to get those valuable stage points. Of course, we did see some guys maybe make a decision to, shortcut the stage for some track position. And that's going to be crazy to see those guys actually go to the front of the field. I think Clayton Hoffman's going to be another one that's going to be having that similar kind of go to the front of the field, because we saw him pit on I do believe, lap 13, Big Al.
Yeah, absolutely. Just making certain that he had enough fuel to get to the end of this thing. And, I don't, you really can't fault those guys, because like I said, if you want a chance to actually be able to get up here and mix it up a little bit, you're going to have to take chances. And that's exactly what those gentlemen just did.
That they did. They definitely took a big chance there. But then again, when we looked at the points earlier, when we looked at the Cup Series standings, we saw a lot of guys, saw a lot of guys who, got top 5 finishes and stuff like that, and weren't as high on the points, leaderboard as they should have been. But that's what kind of makes me think the priority should have been some of the stages, because I think the stages are going to be incredibly important to make sure, when it comes to these playoffs.
Every single point matters, and every opportunity that you have to get a point, you got to get the point. Get my point?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, I still understand what you're saying about those guys staying out or, doing that, interesting pit strategy there to try to get that track position. We saw DeCiani get I'd say he definitely had a successful, run with doing that. But then again, of course, he did have that contact with, I do believe, JC Nobrega, which caused him to, fall back to third place. But still, what a recovery from him. And I would not be surprised to see something like that work out. With that, let's take a quick step away, and we'll be right back, and we'll maybe talk to someone deeper in the field, Josh, Big Al, and see what they're dealing with. Apparently, I could do the same thing you could do.
Oh, it's okay, Nolan.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and I do believe we're joined in the booth by Mr. Greg Wachinski. Glad that you were able to take the time to hang out with us here. I know you guys in the G&G camp took a really interesting strategy there, pitting right before the stage in. What kind of was the reason you guys did that?
It's just to try to gain some track position here. We won't have to pit right now when everybody else pits.
Well, definitely seems like you got some speed out there. I mean, you're running up there in the top 6, top 7, top 10. You know, what do you think you're going to do? Like to change? Are you making adjustments? Do you feel like the car is good right now?
Yeah, my car is really very comfortable. I mean, you have to just take your time and be patient, not overdrive it. Just race the track. I mean, it's a tough track.
It definitely is. You know, we kind of asked earlier, Matt DeCiani. I'd like to ask you the same question. You know, coming from Sonoma to Road America, which one do you prefer?
I like this track. This is a good track. It's probably my favorite road course.
Well, it definitely seems like it's your favorite here. As you've been able to really make some hay out here. Definitely need some good points. You know, like to hear. You know, I know you've had some difficulties here recently. You know, maybe not of your own fault. You know, had some problems where you've gotten involved in you know, accidents and things like that. I mean, are you really hoping this is going to be the turnaround race?
You know, I'd just like to get a top 10. That'd be fine with me. There's a lot of fast guys out here, a lot faster than me. So, you know, top 10 would be a good goal today.
Well, looking at your lap times, I would not be surprised to see you get yourself maybe even a top 5. Just, you know, you're not the slowest guy out there, and you're not the fastest, but you definitely have enough speed to definitely make something happen out there. And as this race goes on, I'm sure you're improving and improving. But we can't wait to see what happens there. I know you guys are probably going to be going green here in a little bit here. Can we shout anybody out for you?
You know, thanks to you guys. You guys do a great job every week, broadcasting everything. All my guys over at G&G Racing, we spend a lot of time on these setups, especially this one. That's about it. ISCA, ButtKicker.
Well, definitely a big shout out to you, man. We wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, we can see you, you know, get a good finish here tonight. And I know your team and camp needs it for sure. But just be real careful. We've seen some guys where their wheels are getting separated from the axles out there, so be real careful.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to wreck these cars.
All righty. Well, we'll see you later there, Greg. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Take care.
That is Greg Wachinski. Definitely been taking care of business right now. As he sits, I do believe, 7th on the field, or actually 6th, I do believe. A lot of guys have kind of stayed out here. Interesting decisions from some of these drivers. We saw a lot of guys go down pit road and a lot of guys not. I'm confused, really, Big Al. I know some of the guys that maybe took that gamble to go down pit road, you know, before the stage actually ended. But I do believe Renato Tamburini and JC Nobrega, they didn't do that, and they still find themselves on the racetrack.
I'm not sure about that one, Brian.
Interesting call. I mean, I wonder if they're maybe going to just try to go, you know, a few laps, maybe 5 or so laps, and then decide to go down pit road. Because, I mean, of course, the fuel run is 14 laps. And, of course, I do believe we're going to have 16, I think, towards the end, to the end of this race. Definitely going to be having to take our calculators out and do some math. We are 17 laps into this event. Of course, caution laps do not count. But we should see that those pace car lights go out any time now and get the rest of this race underway. It has been such an exciting one. We've seen some guys really have some issues out there. We also see some hard racing. I mean, just some great racing from all these drivers. There has been some attrition, though, where guys, as we mentioned before when we were talking to Greg Wachinski, you know, tires separating from the, you know, the wheel housing there. So you definitely don't like to see that for sure. And I don't think we've seen the last of that, Big Al. What do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely not. Just curious as to what's going on here. A lot of guys stayed out. That's interesting, at the least.
Yeah, I do believe the guys who have stayed out is Renato Tamburini, of course, J.C. Nobrega also. I think Kenny Powell driving to the front of this field. Interesting. Maybe not real sure what's going on here with Kenny Powell either. My telemetry is showing him in third place right now. Kenny Powell did not have a lot of pace, so this could be a dangerous situation. Oh, looks like everybody's going to be passing back around him here. So I think a lot of confusion is going on right now. I am very, very confused as Kenny Powell loses a ton of positions, and I do believe he actually is going to take it down pit road this time by. I think he might have been the lucky dog. I think that's what we're seeing there. Pace car lights are out. We're getting them all doubled up here, getting ready to go back green. As J.C. Nobrega and Renato Tamburini going to be leading this field there. Of course, they have not taken a pit stop since since stage 1. So they have 8 laps on their equipment right now. Of course, while they've been out here pacing, usually when caution laps actually do count, you are actually able to save some gas under these yellow flags. But because we are not counting these tonight, that means that they're just burning fuel.
Who's burning fuel?
Renato Tamburini and J.C. Nobrega. I mean, those guys are definitely out here just burning gas. Like I said, I mean, I don't know if you heard me, but, you know, the caution laps don't count. So usually when they do count, you actually are able to save gas. But these are extra laps. No matter if they're, you know, going at pace speed, they're still burning fuel that they're going to probably desperately need. Very interesting call from these two drivers, and it could be the call of the race. I mean, because if I'm a betting man, I think everybody is going to end up having to pit, no matter what. So, just because, I mean, 14 laps, it's very difficult, I'd say, to save gas on a road course. But we are going to see, ladies and gentlemen, we are along for the ride just like you are. Make sure you like and subscribe to the ISCA Racing here. We love to have you here and watching us as we tackle this grand road course, Road America, as we're going to be going green, I do believe, in just a moment. And I'll tell you what, I'd much rather be driving that Porsche around this racetrack.
Traitor.
Traitor? I mean, I just think that Porsche would probably handle a lot of this a lot better than these NASCAR cars do.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with my trusty Ford. Remember, nobody ever won a race from the pace car.
That's true. That is very, very true. But you never know. It could happen at some point. I mean, someone steals the pace car and just goes out there and completes all the laps and wins the race. Of course, NASCAR wouldn't like that very much. You know, I saw the most interesting thing the other day. I was scrolling on Twitter and saw this thing where they were racing school buses on the figure 8. That was pretty cool to see.
Oh, that's awesome. Were kids on the buses?
No, definitely not. I would hope not. The green flag, though, back out in the air. Renato Tamburini, what a tremendous start there. But here comes J.C. Nobrega, going to try to come up onto the bottom here to try to catch him and maybe pass him. You see,
Nobrega looks like he's a little bit out of sorts there.
You also got to keep in mind that Nobrega had some damage there once he had that contact with Matt DeCiani.
Well, I do believe both Renato Tamburini and J.C. Nobrega both, if my memory serves me correctly, Nobrega hit Tamburini, or Tamburini hit Nobrega, who hit DeCiani.
You see Matt DeCiani, he's way back here in the field, 13th right now.
Oh, and those two just took each other out right there in turn one in classic fashion. The two teammates from Brazil just totally missed that turn, and unfortunately, both of them went bye-bye.
That is not a good day at all when teammates wreck each other. And looks like J.C. Nobrega, oh, man, just got loose on the entry there. Something went wrong, and he just took his own teammate out there.
8-ball corner pocket.
Yeah, that's probably the end of their day here tonight so far. But 22, Danilo Coelho right now out there on the racetrack, going to be leading the field. Josh Schaffner, he's about 8/10 back there. Clayton Hoffman, he's in third right now. We saw him. He's been having some problems all night long. Clayton, of course, qualified on the pole. Now going to be trying to take over second here. And still, I think he's still got a chance to win this thing. You also see Brian Johnson right there in fourth place trying to catch up here to Schaffner. Joey Preby also in the mix here. Chris Johnson battling right now with the 35 of Renato Tamburini. Tamburini, of course, was just involved in a huge accident. Looks like the speed in that car doesn't seem like it's gone away, though.
Well, he kind of got taken into the side. I think the bigger of the two was going to be his partner, who actually took the brunt of that to the front of his car.
Interesting call here from Josh Schaffner. He's down pit road. Also, Greg Wachinski pits here. So I think these guys are going to be making their final stops here.
Yep, they're topping off to get the fuel that they need to run this thing to the end.
Very interesting decision there from those guys to pit that early. Could it pay off? It could very well. Get it out of the way. All the strategy that's going on right now, I mean, it's hard for me to follow it.
Well, there's a lot of things that are happening on the racetrack, and that's one of the things Big Al always says, you got to run your own race because, only you know what your strategy is, only you know what you're doing. So then Danilo Coelho right now is definitely doing what he needs to do, as he just turned a pretty fast lap there.
Brian Johnson just got passed by Joey Preby. Looks like Johnson had a little bit of a loose condition there as we see Carl Dodson starting to catch up here. Also, Randy Drumhiller, he's up in the top 6 right now. Matt DeCiani, he's in 7th, trying to work his way back up.
Yeah, but everybody's going to have to come down pit road.
That they will. Danilo Coelho right now. Oh, DeCiani a little bit off the track there, but Danilo, he's actually 9 laps on his equipment right now. So I would say in the next 5 laps, he's going to have to pit. He was one of the ones that stayed out along with J.C. Nobrega and Renato Tamburini. Of course, Tamburini and Renato kind of out of the Tamburini, and my brain just shut off there for a second. And Nobrega, I'm sorry. Both of those guys kind of out of the whole kind of conversation for the win, even though and it just happened just recently, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're just joining us, our 2 leaders literally just kind of took each other out, and they are on the same team. It's Clayton Hoffman catches up to the 22. Clayton Hoffman has been, of course, one of the fastest guys all night long, but has had a problem with consistency. I do believe on lap 2 of the first stage, He wrecked himself out of the lead. Luckily, he did not, I don't believe, didn't have too much contact, so he is still in this race. Brian Johnson coming off of pit road. He just took himself a green flag pit stop. It's Greg Wyszynski starting to put a lot of pressure on him. You see Al Kozlowski kind of holding these guys up. Of course, Al Kozlowski is a lap down.
Jeffrey Souza has now made his way up into the top 10 for the first time tonight.
Yeah, Jeffrey Souza has been struggling here. A lot slower than what you usually expect him to be.
He can't be fast every week.
I guess he can't, but I mean, usually he's just one of those guys that always watch him to be really, really quick. I mean, he's just, you know, fastest lap tonight was a 2-minute, 15-second, lap. So pretty much, very much off the pace by 4 seconds compared to what we're seeing from a lot of the other drivers. But still is, managed to fight himself up into the top 10. I just think that it's all going to come down to strategy here tonight, it seems like.
Yeah, absolutely. So we still got quite a bit of racing to go here. Will be 10 to go here next time the leaders cross the line.
And I do believe Danilio down pit road right now, so that is the leader pitting here. That's going to give the lead back to Clayton Hoffman, as he's going to lead the first lap since he led earlier in this race. But he also is going to end up having to pit. That puts Joey Preby up to second place. Carl Dodson's right now sitting in third, right there behind him. What a great race here from Andrew Layton right now sitting here in seventh place. That 84 Monster Machine has also seen a lot of struggles, I do believe, in recent memory. Hats off to Robert Pattengale. He was one we kind of talked about earlier. Hasn't been the fastest, this season, but he's been one that has stayed alive, and been consistent. Slow and steady wins the race, and he's been doing exactly that, getting racking up a lot of points. We talked about him, on the cutoff line for the Super Cup Series, being I do believe 17th in the points. This would be a good finish to maybe move him up a spot.
Yeah, but don't forget, you still got to pit one more time. So Joey Preby now is up in the second. Carl Dobson's in third. Randy Drumhiller finds himself in the top 5. Looks like we got 10 to go here.
That is right. 10 laps remain here in this race. Joey Preby trying to hold off Carl Dodson and doing a great job. I would not count out Matt DeCiani. Looking at his lap times, he is almost a second faster than those guys. Probably a little bit more closer to a half a second faster than those guys. Of course, he has had his own troubles here tonight, but he has definitely, hit the ground running whenever, he gets back on the horse. And I think that's what's so key, and that's why I think Matt DeCiani deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, well, don't forget Clayton Hoffman. I mean, he basically took himself out in the first stage and just battled all the way back, and now he's leading this thing. Probably finds himself in a pretty good shot just as much as anybody else to actually win this thing.
Yeah, he definitely has a really good chance, a really good opportunity.
I mean,
one thing about it, though,
yep. Currently, his lap times are over 2 seconds better than anybody else in the field.
Yeah, he is showing a lot of pace, but also, you know, just like you said before, he's got a pit, and it's going to be sooner rather than later. I mean, he's now 9 laps on his tires. So the only person I think that's really going to have the chance to maybe make something happen on Clayton Hoffman, I think it's probably going to be that 22 back there in 13th. Because, of course, when that 22 of Danilo pitted, he actually was right there in front of Clayton Hoffman. Battle here between Brian Johnson and Josh Schaffner. Looks like Brian Johnson's going to move up to 15th place. Of course, those guys decided to pit a little bit early in this stage also. So I do believe they will be good to go towards the end. So I would not be surprised these guys to maybe not go to, you know, the lead, possibly a top 5 in the future here for maybe Brian Johnson and Josh Schaffner. It all depends on how many mistakes you make. I think that's going to be the key here. Yeah, you could have the best pit strategy all day long. But one thing about it, you know, Big Al, we kind of always say, you know, how pit road is probably the most important thing. Like, you could be really good on the actual racetrack, but, you know, pit road could really be your undoing. And it still can be here for sure. But I think that because of how difficult these road courses can be, I would almost say that, you know, the most important thing is making mistakes on the actual racetrack. Just don't make those mistakes. You see Matt DeCiani has worked his way now up to 3rd place, getting around Carl Dobson.
Yeah, Dobson's had his hands full most of the evening with that 42 car of his, so not surprised to see DeCiani take that position. I think now he's going to probably be moving up to Joey Preby, but don't forget, I think these guys still are yet to pit.
Of course, that is the one thing that's on the back of, I do believe, probably everybody's minds out there. They still have to make that trip down pit road. Watching right now, Jeffrey Souza as he catches up here to Andrew Griesbaum and Andrew Layton. So battle of the Andrews there for 7th and 8th.
Man, Hoffman is out to almost a 15-second lead, so.
Yeah, he is definitely putting on a clinic now that he's gotten, I think, that car underneath him. Of course, earlier we saw him make a crucial mistake and spin himself out, but definitely has learned from that. And that's a big thing. You know, you definitely don't want to dwell on mistakes like that.
Oh, Wayne Grossi's going to find himself off, and oh, thank goodness he didn't come back into the side of Jeffrey Souza there.
Yeah, that could have been definitely.
Grossi, yeah, that's going to put Grossi all the way back to 10th. And that's going to intensify that battle that we got going on for what would be for 6th place, as these guys are now currently stacked up behind Andrew Layton. The lead now up to some 17 seconds for Clayton Hoffman.
Yeah, he is right now taking care of business as Jeffrey Souza side by side with Andrew Griesbaum. Big battle here as we see Andrew Layton catches a little bit of that grass, but luckily it did not hurt him. Saw a smoke trail there. Not much longer in this race. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like the call from, you know, some of those guys to kind of get that pit stop out the way early. I mean, it would affect my performance if I knew I had to pit. You know, I want to have that kind of peace of mind and know, hey, I can make it to the end, you know?
Well, the pace that Clayton Hoffman's running, I mean, he is going to actually be able to come down pit road here pretty soon and still possibly come back out in the lead.
Yeah, definitely could be the case. He's now 11 laps into his stint. Of course, the fuel run here tonight, 14. These guys have a 75% fuel tank, so that probably also could be changing the handling for a lot of these cars, especially as the fuel gets drained out. But, I mean, I really don't think tire wear has affected these guys very much. I mean, you see Clayton Hoffman, last lap was a 2:11.143. Very quick lap. Not much further off of his actual fastest lap, only about a half a second. As we go now, turn the clock over here to lap 25.
Looks like DeCiani definitely found a little bit of pace as well, as his last lap was the first one that he's had sub 2:13 for a while. Jeffrey Sousa, though, is definitely going to be battling Andrew Layton, and he actually was on the inside of him right there, but was not actually able to pull it off. Layton's going to get
Layton
loose.
having a problem.
That's going to allow Sousa to go ahead and drive by. Now he's up to 6th place.
Layton was doing so good, too. Hate to see that from that 84. Hopefully he doesn't come back in front of the... Oh, Chris Johnson able to get by him. A lot of cars coming up on him right now. Hopefully he's able to get that thing back under power. Looks like he's able to do so as Robert Pattengale going to be under fire here from Brian Johnson. 3 wide as we see Renato Tamburini trying to work his way back up into the top 10 at least. Some big fighting going on right now. Still surprised that Tamburini's still able to drive as good as he is. I mean, compared to the damage I do believe JC Nobrega received, we see Tamburini now side by side with the 84. Oh, and 84 has another problem. Oh, no!
Going to be off into the grass.
Big contact between him and Robert Pattengale. You hate to see that. Robert Pattengale, we're talking about him always really good at, avoiding accidents, but man, nothing he could do.
Coming around that turn, just like you said, your sponsors are saying he's there, he's moving, and then next thing you know, he's in your lap.
Carl Dodson is caught back up here to Joey Prevey.
Christy Johnson continually having his handling woes, though. Looks like Brian Johnson's going to just get by him for a share of 11th place.
Of course, Brian Johnson, I do believe is good to go till the end of this race. Would not be surprised. I mean, he's right now on the edge of the top 10. I think when all is said and done, I think he might even have him a top 5. Clayton Hoffman on pit road, going to be taking his pit stop. Well, let's see how this works. Is he going to lose the lead? See, Carl Dodson actually managed to get by Joey Prevey. That's going to make him the leader.
Yeah, Hoffman had almost a 30-second lead, and Chris D. Johnson is off into the grass again. Looks like he was building sandcastles over there, Brian.
Clayton Hoffman is going to come off of pit road, and he's going to be 5th place right now. So I do believe he is going to be your de facto leader once all is said and done. Just considering everybody out in front of him right now has 8 laps on their equipment, and I don't believe they can make it to the end. They might, though. It could be really close. This is going to be interesting to see how this works out. Could some of these guys' math have been off? As now I do believe we're verging on 5 laps to go. I think these guys might have a chance of actually making it. I'm really curious. I mean, but then again, as I mentioned before, whenever we were under those cautions, or that last caution, those guys were out there still burning fuel. Those caution laps did not count. So it's going to be close. I definitely would be trying to save him. I mean, looking at Carl Dotson's lap times, 2-minute, 15-second laps. I mean, that's nowhere close to what his fastest laps have been. So I wouldn't be surprised that he is saving. Clayton Hoffman has caught up to Randy Drumhill. They're going to be trying to take fourth back. Randy Drumhill doing an excellent job, though, right now sitting in the top 5. Here comes Clayton. They want to make that pass stick. Oh, someone's having some problems in the grass over there, the sand. And that was Joey Preby losing it on the racetrack. He's going to fall back to now 5th place.
And just like that, Clayton Hoffman finds himself up in 3rd place.
He is right now 6.6 seconds, or now, I mean, it's definitely going down steadily here. As he's been running some barn burner laps. But he's about a little over 5 seconds back from Carl Dodson. Can he make that up?
Yes, he can.
But will those guys have to pit? I mean, that's still the question. I would assume they do, but it's possible they could make it. I mean, I'm really curious on how this is going to work out. This has definitely been a race to where you wanted to mind your P's and Q's, not make mistakes. And I think that has definitely been the case here. That's been the feature. I mean, we've seen, you know, some of the fastest cars out here have problems.
It'll be close for Dobson and DeCiani on it. They're going to be right there at that window, but I don't think they're going to pit. I think they're going to just definitely keep their foot in it and try to make it last just to that last lap. So with 5 to go here, I mean, we got a battle that is definitely starting to shape itself up there, Brian.
No, I think you're right, though. Looking at Clayton Hoffman, he has just been tearing it up when it comes to that lead that those guys have on him. We just were talking about he had over 5 seconds. Now he's down to 2.6 seconds. He is running these guys down.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be much that either one of those two are going to be able to do to stop him.
You never know, though. One wrong move. Clayton Hoffman tries to be a little too aggressive trying to get around these guys. Could see something go wrong. Still 4 laps to go now. So, I mean, still, you know, this being such a big track with, you know, such high lap times, I think in 4 laps there's still a lot of opportunity for something to go wrong.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's going wrong. A couple of these guys are saying, man, this race needs to be shortened by a couple of laps right about now.
Oh, yeah. Of course, Carl Dodson and Matt DeCiani have 10 laps on their equipment right now. So they are barely going to make it if they can. DeCiani has been running some very quick laps compared to Carl Dodson. Would not be surprised to see him possibly take the lead. But then again, I don't think he's got enough time. I think he needs to worry about not Dodson and the guy that's right behind him, Clayton Hoffman, now about a half a second behind Matt DeCiani.
And Hoffman is definitely coming like a man possessed. He is on the heels of these two guys, and I think he is wanting to make pretty quick work of DeCiani so he can get on around there to Dobson. If Dobson has any shot whatsoever, though, of defending, he is going to hope that Clayton runs it in there just a little bit too hard and has trouble getting around DeCiani, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Wouldn't that be something, though? Clayton Hoffman to make a mistake at the end of this race, as he made a mistake earlier in this event in stage 1. But there he goes on Matt DeCiani. He's going to make that pass stick. Oh, DeCiani going to get really close to the back end.
So coming through that Canada turn now, getting ready to come on around.
So Clayton Hoffman now a half a second behind Carl Dodson. Lap traffic even coming into play here. I think that's Paul Olson.
That would be Paul Olson. Now here's the deal. How long is it going to take Clayton to pass Dobson? I mean, Clayton's 5 seconds faster per lap.
I don't think it's going to take long. I think it's going to happen right now.
Dobson actually turned one of his fastest laps in quite a while right there, as he was at a 2:13.756.
Yeah, I think he's feeling the heat from Clayton Hoffman breathing on the back of his neck, wouldn't you say?
I definitely think he can feel the heat coming off of the grill of Clayton Hoffman's car right about now.
And this could be an opportunity here for Matt DeCiani, because DeCiani has, he's not, or Clayton's not really running away from DeCiani quite as hard as he could be. And if we see some trouble between these top two, DeCiani could find himself on the Catbird seat.
Clayton's definitely going to be wanting to get the best angle on this turn. He's got to get it stopped, slowed down, come in there. And
he locks it up.
That's the problem that he had. But he can still make it up as they come up to the top of the hill here going into the downs. And
oh, no!
Off the track. And he is going to be kicking himself for that one probably for about the rest of the week.
100%. Randy Drumhiller even going to be able to come up here. Probably not going to be able to get around him, but man, that just, I think, lost him the race. I don't think he's got enough time to catch these guys up, catch up to these guys.
Yeah, it's time is running out as the 42 of Dobson now finds himself in the grass. He's out there making ice cream castles. That's going to put Matt DeCiani in the lead, move Hoffman back up to second.
And does DeCiani have enough gas? That's not a question that we have answered yet. He's 11 laps on his equipment.
Dobson's going to fall all the way out of the lead, all the way back to 6th place because of the mistake that he made. Renato Tamburini, what a charge is. He is back up in the 8th place.
Yeah, he is not letting anything hold him back as he's been turning the fastest laps of the race, too. 2 minute .09.967. He just recently, I do believe, turned that lap. Last lap, of course, was a 2 minute 10 second lap. He is running he's the fastest car on the racetrack right now.
Tick-tock, Brian. Time's running out as the 44 is down pit road. Randy Drumhiller will be coming down to top off his fuel. Jeffrey Souza made it all the way up to 7th place. I mean, those guys got to be feeling pretty good about themselves here tonight. Now he's in 6th place.
If Randy Drumhiller had to pit, I do believe we're going to see Matt DeCiani have to pit too. His next lap is going to be the white flag.
And it's going to really be, tragic to make it that close and be so close on fuel. I don't think he's going to have enough to make it.
Yeah, I think he might be coasting.
You're not going to be able to coast too much with Clayton Hoffman breathing down your neck.
Oh, yeah. I think Hoffman's still dwelling on his mistake that he made earlier. Oh, yep, he does it again. Oh, into the barrels there, or into the tire. He takes a toe. Clayton Hoffman's done.
That's going to do it for him.
Oh, my goodness.
If you're driving hard into those turns, sometimes you just don't have the opportunity to lift up. And, Hoffman had already demonstrated that a couple of times already as Renato Tamburini now finds himself all the way back up in the 6th place.
Now, didn't that happen in the same exact spot on that that lap? We saw him have that same problem before. I think that's just a problem zone for him.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was just trying to drive it in to try to make up time, and sometimes it's just if you're just a couple of feet too left of center, man, and too far gone, it's nothing you could do but enjoy the ride.
Unfortunate too, because every time he's had problems like that, he hasn't hit anything really. That time he actually hit that tire barrier.
Well, grass has no grip. That's what I've learned.
Oh yeah.
Matt DeCiani still holding on here.
And he is going to be coming for the white flag, so if he can make it, this is the only time we'll tell. Matt DeCiani could run out of gas. Joey Preby could run out of gas here. And if both of those guys run out of gas, you know who's going to be our winner? Probably the 22 of Danilo Coelho. As Danilo is actually caught up to the back here of Joey Preby, so we're going to have a sporty fight here for second. I am on the edge of my seat to see whether Matt DeCiani can make it on fuel. As the final lap, the white flag is out.
Coho's actually been out longer than DeCiani and Preby. He's on lap 14 right now.
Well, no, that's not true. Remember, he pitted whenever he was out in front of Clayton Hoffman. Remember, he gave up that lead to go down pit road. He's actually on 10-lap-old tires right now, 10-lap-old gas. So,
yep, my bad. My analytics were a little off.
I was about to say, I was like, I'm pretty sure I saw him pit. He pitted really early, that's for sure. But I think if anybody has enough to make it, it's him. But here we go. I mean, Matt DeCiani taking some of these corners for the final time. Is he going to run out of gas? I mean, man, we are watching this guy.
He should be good to go, Brian. He's just now 13 laps, and the range is 14 at least. So, yeah, it should be no issue.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, as I mentioned before, the caution laps were not counted. But look at it. He's going to make it, I do believe. I think you're right. As he goes up the uphill, Matt DeCiani is going to win it. Great job for him.
Wow. And that's going to put Joey Preby coming home in second place. Daniel Coelho comes across the line in third. That is going to be the top three finishers right there.
And I think Matt DeCiani might be out of gas here. I don't think we're going to see any burnouts from that one car. But as you just mentioned, that top three, well, Carl Dodson's going to find himself in fourth place. Jeffrey Suits is going to find himself in fifth. Sixth place is going to be Renato Tamburini. Definitely one heck of a fight for him to fight his way back up into the top six here. Andrew Griesbaum going to grab a seventh place. Eighth place is going to be Thomas O'Hara. Ninth place is going to be Josh Schaffner. 10th place, Brian Johnson.
That's going to put Robert Pattengill. Mark Sanchez is going to come across in 11th. Looks like Chris D. Johnson is 12th. Robert Pattengill, 13th. Wayne Grossi, 14th. Randy Drumhiller, 15th. Greg Wachinski, 16th. Kenny Powell, 17th. Jason Baker in 18th. Paul Olsen in 19th. And Clayton Hoffman in 20th.
21st is going to be Al Kozlowski. 22nd, Andrew Layton. 23rd, J.C. Nobrega. 24th, Joseph Lester. 25th, Austin Story. And 26th, Lucas Abreu. Man, that last five cars, or even last six cars, except for Al Kozlowski, all of those guys were top runners. Unfortunate to see that, man. Man, just what a dramatic race this has been here. Road America probably, a lot of these guys probably going to be glad to have this in their review mirror. But let's take a quick step away here, and we'll pay some attention to our sponsors, and then we'll get the post-race show out. And looks like Matt DeCiani actually not out of gas there, so good to see that. But we'll be right back.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at TheButtKicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Ow. Ew. Ow. Ew.
Want relief from tough pain without the tough taste? Try Goody's Cool Orange. Goody's fast, Goody's delicious. Because pain relief shouldn't be a pain to take. Goody's flavors, taking the pain out of pain relief.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Still waiting on everybody to get moved up here into the broadcast booth so we can start our post-race show. But what an exciting race this was for the Goody 125. Definitely did not disappoint. We saw a lot of trials and tribulations for a lot of the drivers out there here tonight. I do believe we're going to go ahead and talk to our third place finisher. I do believe Daniel Coelho is actually here for us. Mr. Daniel, or Danilo, I'm sorry about that. How are you doing, man? Third place. You're able to fight your way back up. I mean, we know you had to pit there. Did you know that those guys were going to be able to make it like that? I mean, if they had ran out of gas, you would have won this race. Danilo, you got you?
Yeah. Sorry. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the words, Brian. Well, it was fun. Very fun race. We don't think the guys could do until the end, so we try to stay in the track in the second stage and go to the end after the last stop. But congrats to Matt and to Joy. They can do it with the gas until the end. I think Hoffman have a issue with equipment, but the race was very fun. I had a touch with the, I don't remember, but I have a 2 minutes damage. I stopped in the first stage and fix everything, change tires and everything, and just go in the gas. But it was fun, very 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 fun this race, and let's go to the next one.
And you definitely did a great job out there. I think pace-wise, I mean, you were right up there with Clayton Hoffman. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, he had some problems. Also, JC Nobrega and Renato Tamburini, kind of having some issues too, to where, you hate to see it when teammates wreck each other.
No, yeah, JC had a problem in his wheel, and the clutch is stuck in first gear, and he couldn't stop and and hit Tamburini. What's a shame, but happened.
Yeah, it definitely does happen. Unfortunately, you hate to see that. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe we're going to Atlanta this coming up week. Is that a? I have to look at my schedule here. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. Is Atlanta?
I do believe it is Atlanta. I'm curious though if we're actually going to see the super speedway version of that they've recently, kind of done, or if iRacing's going to update it. I'm very curious. Either way, it's going to be a heck of a race. How are you feeling about maybe the old version of Atlanta versus the new version? Do you think which one would you prefer to see?
It's difficult. It's not a track that I really like, but anxious to see the new one. I never run there, and let's do it. I prefer where I be fast.
Well, I mean, you'll definitely probably that'll be a lot easier of a version of Atlanta too, because I mean, it's like a lot like a super speedway where it's flat out the whole way around. The old Atlanta definitely has a lot of character, a lot of bumps, a lot of roughness to it that makes it fun too. But it definitely makes it a driver's track and easy to make mistakes there. So I'm curious to see what that's going to look like for sure. But we definitely appreciate your time, and you did a great job. Finished third place. I know last week it was kind of interesting that you translated for so your teammates. You didn't finish up in the top three, but this time you do. So congratulations on that, man. And who can we shout out for you?
Oh, thank you, Brian. Shout out to EPI this week. They did an awesome job in the setup, and Lucas is our the guy who did the finest thing in the setup to everyone. And thank you for EPI and Lucas this week. And let's go. Thank you.
Alrighty, appreciate your time. And if you could just say your name for us one time, I just want to make sure we're not butchering it.
No, in Portuguese is Danilo.
Danilo.
But everyone in US call me Dan. That's okay.
Dan,
no problem.
okay. That'll actually be a lot easier for us.
Yeah.
Now your last name though, Coelho?
Yes, it's a curiosity. Coelho. Coelho is rabbit in Portuguese.
Okay.
So my name is Danilo Rabbit. Coelho is rabbit in Portuguese. Coelho is Yeah.
We'll just call you
exactly.
Dan the Rabbit. How about that?
Yeah. Everyone in here in the groups, everything here in Brazil, they always call me Rabbit. Dan Rabbit. That's okay.
Well, we appreciate your time, man. We look forward to talking to you next week.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, that is Dan the Rabbit here, finishing third place. Next up, I do believe we have a first interview here with Joey Preby. I don't believe we've ever had the chance to talk to him, but Big Al, you're standing by with our second place finisher.
Hey, Mr. Preby, this is Big Al. You got me.
Yep.
Hey,
Well,
man, what a show for you guys. I mean, you guys actually started this thing in 11th place, actually able to keep it together, keep it clean. Couple awesome pit strategies, and you find yourself coming home in second. What do you contribute your success for this week's race?
really practice. I spent a couple NIS races and practice sessions just finding where I could be faster, and uh, that's really it. Practice.
So, is Road America a more favorite track of yours, or do you prefer road racing or oval racing?
This is actually my first time racing Road America, and I prefer oval racing. I used to be bad at road racing. I practiced a little bit and found where to be faster, and I kind of like them both now.
Well, you're definitely actually able to find some speed there tonight. Like I said, that's awesome for you guys. Very good, solid finish. Next week we're headed to Atlanta. What are your thoughts about that? And what kind of preparation are you guys going to be making in order to show up there and be fast?
Practice, and I'm excited to see if it's going to be the new configuration for Atlanta, the super speedway. I think that'll be fun to run. And a lot of adjustments to setups and hard work.
Well, definitely, we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys out there to see if you could actually bring some more speed. I think we're going to get looking forward to talking to you a little bit more up here in the on the podium. But before I can let you go, bud, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Repo Speed Labs, they had a very good setup this week, and that's really it.
Well, all right. Congratulations again on that second place finish. That's going to get you a whole bunch of dough.
Yep.
And good luck to you next week. And hopefully, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that was Joey Preby, our second place finisher here tonight. Matt DeCiani, our surprise winner. We were surprised that you were able to make it on fuel, Matt. I mean, goodness.
You were surprised.
So you weren't?
No, I absolutely knew that Matt DeCiani was gonna win this thing.
Oh yeah, you say that after the fact. Of course you knew. But Matt, this ain't about Big Al or me. This is about you. How are you feeling, man? You got to be ecstatic.
Holy cow, man, the range of emotions that last 7 laps. I knew I could make it. I didn't even save any gas really because I came in topped off, and I knew I'd practice I could run it out 14 laps. That's exactly what happened. But man, Clayton had an equipment issue. I had an equipment issue. I don't know, with 6 to go. I lost like 12, 13 seconds, gave up the lead again. I was going to be in prime position to win that. Then I fixed my shifter. So once that happened, Clayton and Carl were battling, and then they had their issue. And man, I don't know. Somehow I ended up with the lead, and yeah, that was definitely a crazy last few laps there.
That it was. I mean, we actually saw Clayton finish 20th because of his issue. He actually hit the tire barrier, and ended his race. Had to take a tow. But definitely seemed like he was the one that was going to come up there, and chase y'all down. Because I mean, it definitely seemed like Carl Dodson might have been saving some fuel out there. But so you weren't saving it all, though, huh?
No, not really. I came and topped off when we were coming to the 1 to go, and I knew. I was like, it's gonna be. I think I can make 14 laps. I might have to save a little. Then after about 3 or 4 laps, I was pretty good. I had about 0.3 to the good, and I'm like, all right, I'm not saving anymore. Then I don't know, maybe me having that shifter issue, which cost me 10 to 12 seconds that one lap, might have given me enough, maybe. But yeah, I really wasn't saving.
Well, I mean, even if you had that problem and it caused you, cost you some seconds, you still had to still make that distance. I mean, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know if that really would have saved you, but I just think you just had the, good car here. You weren't necessarily even the fastest. But I know that, in stage 2, I kind of noticed that, those guys were right behind you. I know JC Nobrega, all those guys, were right there behind you. They pushed you to be a little bit faster than I think what we saw earlier in this race. I mean, was it kind of were you learning as you went?
No, not really. I mean, I knew I had a good car. And as much as it doesn't really matter at road courses, clean air is all important, right? Just your braking points are a little different when you're in clean air. And I had short fueled and knew I was good on older tires. So yeah, I mean, I had the pace to keep up with them. I wasn't doing a great job as a driver per se there. Then I got dumped there. But hey, I don't know if I'd play that strategy if I don't get turned there in that stage. I probably would have done something similar to what those guys up front did. So yeah, in the end, it all worked out.
It definitely did, man, and great job on this win. I know you've had multiple wins. I think you're at 2 now, 3 after this one this season in the Super Cup Series. So you got to be feeling really good about that. You're starting to catch up to Clayton, which I think believe Clayton has 5. This is definitely going to be probably something good that's going to move you up that leaderboard a little bit more. That's for sure.
Yeah, we'll see when playoff time comes. It'll be interesting too. I think there's playoff points for regular season point standings, and I think I got a pretty good size lead there, so that could be another couple playoff points heading my way, hopefully. So we'll see what happens.
Well, you definitely should have some stage points waiting on you. I do believe you finished top 3, I think, in both stages, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, great job to you, man. I know we're going to kind of an unknown next week, Atlanta. That could mean 2 different things. We're not sure what our racing's plan is. Are you prepared for either, kind of whatever happens?
Yeah, I'm 95% sure they're releasing the new Atlanta tomorrow, so I got a feeling it's going to be the new one. But don't quote me on that. I just something I read on the website.
You heard it
But
here
yeah,
first, ladies and gentlemen. Matt DeCiani putting his credibility on the line. He says the new Atlanta is going to be making an appearance. I'm just playing.
yeah, I think so. It's all good. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it's who I don't really know how is it gonna race like a super speedway or not. A new track with the models and stuff. I guess we'll just it's gonna be a wild card. Honestly, I think anyone can win next week.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think either way, even if it's not the new Atlanta, we'll have to wait and see. Definitely going to be very exciting, nonetheless. I mean, Atlanta has a lot of character, and if it is the new Atlanta, I mean, I can't wait to see that too, because I mean, that's definitely going to be a little bit new of a thing, and definitely want to see how that next gen works there. We've seen the new damage model definitely take a lot of you know a lot of the front seat, I think tonight, especially because I mean we've seen guys even separating some tires, so on that car. So good thing that you were not you didn't have any of that issue. You even had contact. You got kind of like you said dumped, and didn't have that issue. So you got really lucky there because there was a lot of guys that had their races literally ended because their tires were no longer connected to the vehicle. But still, congratulations, man. Who can we shout out after this momentous win?
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks to you, Brian, Al. You guys call great races. Thanks to ButtKicker. Thanks to our other top 3 finishers, Joey and Danilo. Then shout out to ButtKicker. Then thanks again to EPI for all our setups, and they've been really really quick on these road courses this year.
Definitely seems like they have been, man. Well, once again, congratulations. Look forward to seeing what you can bring to us at Atlanta. Um, thanks for your time.
Thank you guys.
Well, Big Al, what an exciting race this has been tonight. Had no clue who was really going to win it. I mean, I think we were on our toes the whole race, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Brian, but once again, I did call that Matt DeCiani was the car to beat. So, got to give a big shout out to Big Al for that. But seriously, though, thank our sponsors, guys. Follow us on the ICA. You can like, subscribe, and follow if you want to see more of this. But Brian, yeah, it was an awesome race, man. Thank you for your participation in the booth, keeping me on my toes as well. And also shout out to Kenny Powell, making it all happen.
100%. This has been a fantastic race here. Road America has not disappointed. Glad to maybe put it in the books, though. I don't know. We might see some more Road America show up at some point, especially on Saturday. We're definitely going to see some more of it. And curious to see, how that's going to look. That's one thing about it. I know that at Sonoma and, we saw on that Thursday league or series and that Saturday series, there were really strong drivers in both. I'm curious to see who's going to really shine on Saturday. So make sure you definitely tune in. Then, we're going to be going live, I do believe, around 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, the green flag probably going to be waving at around 9:30. So make sure you show up early, get your spot here, get you some popcorn ready, and get excited for some more Road Americas. We're going to be doing the same distance there in the Tucson Sound Dart Cup and Super Cup series. But with that, I do believe that draws us to the conclusion of tonight's broadcast. Once again, we appreciate everybody for tuning in, and of course appreciate all the drivers out there that made this race as interesting as it was. Thank you for watching.